Hi guys, it's Beth. Welcome back to my channel. And today I am excited to share with you a card kit that I used up. It's an old Flavor of the Month card kit from Scrapping for Less from December of 2018, and the theme was animals in the Arctic. So it is a winter themed kit, and that's kind of the kick I'm on right now, is working through some winter products. So the first thing I made with this kit was another banner. So if you've followed my channel for a little bit, you may have seen a banner I made for a Christmas banner that I made for my craft room in December. I used the colors in my craft room are like this bright pink and green, and so I always like to find ways to incorporate seasonal decor that are in the colors of my room. And so I decided that since this was a fairly neutral collection, like I tried to go, the papers are reversible in this collection, and I tried to go with like the more of the white side with just a little bit of the gray, just because I figured that would fit with my room. And then I brought in some pink washi tape and other pink elements to help tie it into my room colors. And you will probably see this banner again in my Smash Our Stash collaboration update here later this week because of the washi tape usage. But I kind of just took the 6x6 papers and trimmed out fishtail at the bottom. So I did not trim the sides. So these are 6 inches long by 6 inches wide by 6 inches long, just with the banner cut out of the bottom. And then I took washi tape and just put it across the top of all the pages. Here I had a little bit of washi tape left, so I just kind of took some strips of the washi tape and doubled it over, and then trimmed the edges into an angle, almost like a snowflake. And then in the kit this month, there were these like little layered kind of glitter snowflakes. And so I just layered one of those on there and then added a couple snowflake table scatter that I had in my stash. Same thing here with the washi tape. This one is a felt doily that I had in my stash, and then I am just using a glitter snowflake ornament that somebody had gifted me a few years ago. This one I cut a circle, like a scallop circle, almost like a doily edge scallop circle, and then layered a couple different snowflakes on here. I have kind of an iridescent vellum, a gray cardstock, and then the kit for this month included a like plastic snowflake garland, and so I cut the garland up and just used the plastic snowflakes as a snowflake embellishment, some more of those silver ones. This one, here's another one of those circles, and this pink paper I actually did pull from another collection, but I pulled it in just to bring, you know, pink into the paper itself. And then I've got 2 of the other layered snowflakes that came with the kit, and then another pink snowflake, and then just a flare button from my stash. Here's another one where I have all the different layers of the snowflakes with the smaller plastic snowflake that came in the garland. This one I did pull in some kind of clear sequins that were in the kit, and then another like glitter silver snowflake that I had in my stash. I don't know where it came from. And then on this last one, I used several more pieces of that garland, one in the center layer of my snowflakes here, and then 2 just to embellish on the outer corners. And then I did pull in some gray and white twine from my stash to pull it all together. So I will include a picture here of what it looks like hung up on my wall. But I love it, and I love having kind of that winter vibe that I can use to decorate up my craft room. So moving on to one of the other collections, I used a couple sketches this time, but not as many as I usually do. So this is the sketch sheet that came with the kit, and I did use this MFT 193 sketch to make a couple of cards. Where'd the other one go? So these were the 2 I made using the MFT sketch. And just took a stitch circle die and cut out a circle of some of like the the more scenery themed paper. Like this one has little white foxes on it, which are super cute. And then this one is just like some trees. And so then I picked more of like it's not really a solid, but what could act as a solid as the card mat on the back. And Warm Winter Wishes, I did print that from my Silhouette because I didn't have any winter stamps that like went like long and skinny sentiments. Most of mine are like stacked and bigger. And then here I just pulled in some scraps of cardstock to add like a banner up here and then some circles down at the bottom. And I decorate the insides of all the cards with scrap paper. So for these two, I didn't use a sketch. I just used some of the scraps that I had left. These were the bigger pieces of the papers that I used for the circles on the last card. And then this pattern was what I used for the background on the last card. And then I took it's a stitched rectangle die, a double stitched rectangle die it's got two rounded edges. It's a Scrapping for Less die that we got in a kit this past year. And took one of the stamp sets of the little foxes, stamped it, colored it up, just real simple coloring with some colored pencils. And then when I put these two pieces together, I decided to add this strip of pink just to help break up the blues a little bit. And then ended up doing that on that one as well. And there's that sentiment from my Silhouette again. And scraps on the inside. So on this one, I didn't have tons of pattern paper left. I had a scrap of this pink, which I had used on these were what was left when I cut the fishtail angle out of my banner piece. And so I was trying to use those up as well. And then Cozy Winter Vibes, I actually printed that one from my Silhouette also. But just layered the triangle on this pattern here, and then just took this one full sheet of pattern paper I had left and cut it into 2 3-inch strips. And then the pink is cardstock that came in the kit. So for the next collection that I used, I followed a sheet load from Call Me Crafty Owl, and this is from the August 2020 sheet load. And this particular sheet load focused on 6x6 paper, so that's why I pulled that one out. And so I just took the papers I had and cut them all up. Like she gives you the cutting guide back here, and so I just took each sheet of paper and cut it into these pieces and then just mixed and matched all the patterns for my card. And hers did have an element here, and I thought about including a snowflake or maybe some sequins, and I might come back and add those because I do have some sequins left in the kit. But like I said, I thought about adding a snowflake, but the only snowflake dies I had were bigger, and I didn't think it was going to look right. So for now, I just left them. Figured I could always come back and add something later. And then once you cut each 6x6 piece down into this particular grid, you end up with 2 little bitty scraps left, and they're little strips. And so I just took both of them, fishtailed them, and then again mixed and matched them throughout the inside of that set of cards. And for the last collection that I used, this particular collection, or one of the collections, came with a card that had the coffee cup cut out of the card base, and then you also got a shaker box shaped in the coffee cup as well. And so I decided to use that. I just took this pattern paper and kind of laid it on the inside, or on the front side of my card, and then traced through the back side of the card base to get my shape on the back side of this paper, and then just hand cut it out, fussy cut it out. So it's not perfect, but I mean, it fits on there. I didn't have to do any extra trimming. So then I took the shaker box and backed it with this pattern. I used in this collection there was pattern on one side and solid on the other, so I used the solid to show through on the front so that the focus was on the shaker elements, and then this acted as my pop of pizzazz on the inside as well. There was some purple organza bow in the collection, so I just added it up here at the top because there was a gap, a pretty good gap from where I fussy cut and then, you know, the top of the shaker box. And then took a scrap strip, just added it on the bottom down here with another one of those plastic snowflakes. There's also one inside the shaker, and then I kind of mixed two different sequin collections for this particular shaker. And then Have a Snuggly Day was a sentiment from one of the stamp sets in the kit. So these two cards there was tissue paper, or they called it decoupage paper, included in this collection, and I decoupage a lot, so that part wouldn't have been like a stretch for me, but I couldn't figure out how to use this in the kind of projects that I normally use decoupage for, and so I just decided to take it. I cut a piece of cardstock to be 4 by 5 1/4, so like almost a card mat, and then just wrapped it, almost like I was wrapping a present. I just wrapped it. I added a bunch of adhesives to the front of my panel that I cut down, added the paper on, smoothed it out really good, and then just folded the paper over the back side and trimmed it up. And so that kind of just acted as a fun little background. And then because the paper had been folded, there were some big crease marks. And so I covered up one by putting this white strip across the center here. And then the Sending Big Bear Hugs and the little polar bear were part of the stamp set that came with this collection. So I thought those were cute. And then what I stamped the bear on, this is actually some watercolor paper. I think it's watercolor texture paper that was like a bonus that it was in this particular collection. So these next two cards I did use a sketch for, and this is sketch number 92 from I Heart Sketches. And I took the solid side of two of the papers to use as my card mat, took this particular pattern, cut it into 2 3-inch strips, and then trimmed it down to 4 inches, so it's like the size of a journal card. These are some more scraps of what got cut out of my banner. And then I just took 2 scrap pieces here to act as little banners here, and then Cozy Winter Vibes is one of them that I cut out from my silhouette. Or printed out from my silhouette, rather. So the other sketch that I used was this Mojo sketch number 536, and I did a bunch of these. So I just there were a bunch of strips left that were already 2 inches wide, which is what the sketch calls for. So I just took them, and actually the strips were 2 by 6, so I was able to get 2 different pieces out of each strip. And so again, I just took the ones I had, mixed and matched, backed them on a piece of white cardstock, and then added them to some of the cardstock that came in the kit. So this one I combined 2 of the black patterns. And then the Warm Winter Wishes is another sentiment for my silhouette. And then just added, and on these darker ones, I did add some white paper on the inside so that your message or a message can be seen. So this one I used the same sketch, but I just turned it vertical because I felt like it looked better vertical. And these two were the same papers, but I just used the pattern side and then the solid side. And then I felt like it needed something down here, so I used the last bit of the organza, the purple like sheer ribbon, and then one of those little plastic snowflakes that I had. And then my final card, I was just using up some scraps that I had left. I did have one bigger piece, and so I used that as my card mat. And then I had a strip that I just turned over and used the back side, added a white strip to kind of break up that solid a little bit, and then another little pattern piece, Warm Winter Wishes from my silhouette, and then punched some circles. So from this kit that has been in my stash for a few years, I made 23 cards and then the banner decoration. It went really quickly. I want to say I started it one evening and finished it up by noon the next morning. So I was just kind of like going in a rhythm. It felt really good and it was a lot of fun. So anyway, I just wanted to share that my kit projects with you, just to give you some winter project inspiration. Unfortunately, the Scrapping for Less kits are no longer available, but I know there are a bunch of us who do still have some in our stash, so also hoping to provide some motivation for those other kit hoarders like me, you know, to kind of revisit those old kits and to have some fun with them. And real quick, I will show you what I have left from the kit. I had the banana split level, so I got the little extra bundle of goodies as well as whatever, you know, the 4 collections. So in that banana split bundle, there was a glitter marker. Let's see, I have a snowflake die. I think that was in one of the collections. These were the stamp sets that came with the kit. Some of them are Stamping for Less, and some of them are other brands. And then there was a little penguin die, and I did not use him. I should have, because he's super cute, but I kind of forgot about him. Things get buried on my desk, and he unfortunately had gotten buried. And then there's that one. And then I have the sequin sets left. I think I used some from just about every baggie except for this one. You can tell some of them were used more than others. And then I have these gems that were in one of the collections that I didn't use. And then there were these bonus papers. Trying to figure out who they were by. Alexandra Runke is who these papers were by, and they're really cool. So I did stamp my bears on those, and I had stamped one that was a little too close to one of the other ones, so I will fussy cut him out and use him in something else. But I decided to go ahead and save these papers and use them on something in the future. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed these projects and got some winter project inspiration. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you guys are all having a crafty day, and I thank you so much for your time.